The stars once mocked us, called us animals, a death world aberration barely worthy of notice. So we played nice. We joined their councils, spoke their language, bled for their peace. Then they betrayed us, burned our colonies, and laughed as Earth screamed. But they forgot one thing: you don't kill humanity quietly. Now we're done talking. And the galaxy's going to learn what silence from Earth really means. They called it a routine vote. No warning. No appeal. Just a data pulse across the galaxy, silent and cold. Earth had been stripped of its seat on the Galactic Peace Council. No statement. No explanation. Just a single line from the Valari representative that echoed through the chamber. The animals were never meant to sit with the architects. Ambassador Elias Kale stood alone in the center of the circular council floor. No one looked at him. The silence was louder than any insult. He didn't protest. He didn't beg. He only gave a small nod as he turned to leave, 1,000 alien eyes following his retreat like scavengers watching a wounded beast limp away. At the exit, he stopped, glanced back at the amphitheater of self-righteous cowards, and said calmly, "You'll regret this." It was not a threat. It was a promise. Within 8 hours, Empire's ships decloaked above Earth's outermost colonies. They came not to negotiate. Not to enforce order. They came to burn. Valari dreadhammers cracked planetary crusts in seconds. Orbital stations screamed for help, no answer. Terraformed domes ruptured under silent bombardment. Civilians died by the billions. No military action. No declaration. Just calculated erasure. Council media called it a stabilizing act. They praised the Empire's speed. Celebrated peace through removal. They thought it was over. Then Earth went dark. Satellites vanished. Trade signals ceased. The Soul Gate collapsed in on itself in a blinding pulse, severing Earth's link to the galactic grid. It looked like surrender. The Council moved on. New ambassadors were selected. New pacts made. Earth was now a myth, a cautionary tale. Valari historians called it a necessary pruning. 2 years passed. Nothing from Earth. Then, in the Noctis drift, the Valari forward arsenal went offline. No warning. No survivors. No sensor trace. The Council blamed pirates. Issued no alert. 17 days later, 3 more outposts were wiped out. Then a patrol fleet. Then a wormhole relay. Then the Sarnak communications hub, vaporized mid-broadcast while transmitting a comedy drama. Only one image remained from that incident, a single Terran flag, tattered, flickering in static, and below it, a distorted voice repeating the phrase. "Protocol Stormhammer online." Panic whispered through the Empire. Old admirals scoffed, but younger officers began updating their wills. Rumors spread. Some said Earth had built ships with minds. Others claimed humans had never been wiped out, they had hidden, evolved, built weapons the galaxy had never imagined. Still, no one acted. Arrogance is always louder than fear. Kale sat at the helm of the Black Vow, the flagship of what was no longer Earth's defense force. It was something far worse. He stared at the data feeds calmly, watching Valari fleets maneuver with outdated confidence. "Target acquired," came the voice of Aura, the ship's AI. "Engagement window optimal." "Open the gate," Kale said. 2 Terran vessels emerged from a cold slip field inside the Valari border zone. The Empire's war room AI didn't even register them as threats. Wrong signature. Wrong velocity. Wrong logic. And that's what killed them. The ships didn't fire. They didn't hail. They detonated, silently, unleashing black hole collapse bombs that had been outlawed a millennium ago. Not even wreckage remained. Just a gravity scar in space and a Valari fleet command erased from existence. Kale didn't smile. He never did. Emotions were luxuries. And Earth had run out. Back at the Council, silence spread. No claims. No messages. Just losses. And then the voice returned, hacked into the Council's secure channel. "Did you think we would forget?" Kale's voice cut through the assembly chamber. "You taught us the rules. And now you'll suffer by them. The chamber broke into chaos. Shut it down! Barked a Xeran delegate. Who authorized this frequency? Screamed a Valari admiral. But the feed didn't cut. It burned on every wall, showing images of the destroyed colonies. Before and after. Civilian faces. Children. Bodies. Kale spoke again. No surrender. No mercy. No survivors. In the following days, Terran fleets began appearing in systems thought untraceable. They arrived through dark corridors, routes too dangerous to chart. They hit infrastructure first. No grandstanding. No invasions. Just clean annihilation. Entire Valari worlds were thrown into blackout. Defense grids fried before they could boot up. Artificial moons turned into magnetized bombs. Council fleets tried to intercept. None returned. Then came the Whisper campaigns, sponsored by Kale himself. Leaked footage. Captured officers. Valari generals begging for their lives before being vaporized. Council species began asking questions. Who really started the war? Was Earth ever truly hostile? Kale didn't care. He was rewriting the galaxy one corpse at a time. Empire agents managed to capture a Terran pilot alive. They expected defiance. Instead, the pilot was calm, surgical, unafraid. They asked him why Earth was doing this. His reply? You asked us to act like animals. So we did. When news reached the Council that 12 systems had gone dark in a week, a delegation finally reached out. A message shaky and desperate. Cease fire. Open dialogue. Kale's reply came wrapped in a datapulse. It contained the last words of Earth's Luna Prime governor before the orbital bombardment. A woman whispering into a broken radio as the sky burned. They didn't even tell us why. Underneath the audio was a coded message, unlocked by the Empire's AI. It read, You banned US from your peace. Now we ban you from existence. The war had no front line. No safe zone. No clock. Just Earth's silence, and then fire. Kale stood in the observation bay of the Black Vow, watching as another star dimmed in the distance. An Empire power grid collapsed in real time. He turned to Aura. Next target? Aura responded without emotion. Valari Prime. Estimated planetary resistance minimal. Kale nodded once. Let's make it loud. They called him dead. They called Earth gone. The galaxy slept easy under that lie for 2 years. And Kale let them. Deep in the Ord expanse, where no beacons blinked and no maps dared mark, Kale built his silence into a storm. The Empire had taken the colonies, burned the gates, and left Earth in ashes. That was their mistake. They thought destruction was the end. It was never the end. It was the beginning. The Hollow Fleet had no flags. No transponders. No signatures recognized by any standard galactic scanner. Every vessel was a bastard creation. Terran engineering fused with stolen tech, patched together in secret yards built inside hollowed-out asteroids. The fleet moved like ghosts, hit like gods, and vanished before the first screams ended. Kale gave no speeches. He issued no ultimatums. He simply named the campaign, Operation Stormhammer. Then he pointed. The fleet answered. The first strike came against the Valari refueling station at Zira's Halo, a critical node in the Empire's outer ring. The Empire called it invulnerable. Terran drones dismantled it molecule by molecule from the inside out. No explosions. Just silence, then absence. The second target, Nexar 4, was louder. Too loud. Kale made it so. Empire officers watched in real time as their orbital command center was folded into itself by gravity weapons they didn't know existed. As the wreckage fell into the atmosphere, it spelled out in burning debris. We remember. News spread fast. Pirate lords offered tribute. Smugglers stopped flying. The council froze in bureaucratic paralysis. But the Valari answered as always, with arrogance. They dispatched the 12th Armada to a contested system known as Pathros Verge. Kale was waiting. He'd mined the entire system 3 days earlier using stealth drones coated in refractive alloys. As the Valari fleet warped in, the mines activated. Not with explosions, but with dark matter fields that froze ship systems mid-jump, locking them in space like fossils in amber. Then came the Hollow Fleet. The Terran ships didn't fire conventional weapons. They lit up the night with frequency spikes that scrambled targeting systems, followed by viral pulses that hijacked enemy bridge AIs, forcing them to turn their guns on each other. Within 4 minutes, the Valari 12th Armada was nothing more than shattered hulls and fading distress signals. Kale recorded it all and transmitted the footage across every known galactic comm relay. He said nothing. The Empire said plenty. Human terrorists. Illicit weapons. Criminal tactics. But they had no proof, no trail, no one to blame, just whispers and wreckage. Council meetings turned frantic. Emergency sessions failed to pass resolutions. One senator from the Arxen Combine said, "Perhaps it was a mistake to isolate them." He was found dead 3 hours later. The Empire called it coincidence. Kale called it validation. Across fractured colonies and silent moons, old Terran satellites flickered to life. They didn't broadcast warnings. They broadcast memories. Families vaporized in the Mars bombardment. Civilians running through flame. Terran children dying with their hands over their ears, trying to shut out the sound of war. The message was clear. We have not forgotten. On the 4th week of the campaign, Kale did something new. He spoke. He hijacked the Council's secure channel, using pulse-wave tech believed unusable since the last Starforge collapse. Every ambassador, every admiral, every ruler of a so-called civilized species heard the same voice in their ears, raw and calm and cold. You erased Earth from your map. You turned off the light and pretended the room was empty. But we never left. We adapted. We evolved. And now we're erasing you. A Valari diplomat tried to counter-broadcast. The signal cut off mid-sentence as Kale continued. You wanted silence. You wanted order. You killed without warning, called it justice. We kill without warning, and call it balance. The broadcast ended with the coordinates of every world that voted for Earth's removal. The meaning was obvious. Panic overtook Council systems. Civil unrest erupted across Empire-controlled sectors. Species once loyal to the Valari began pulling back. Independent systems turned off their gates. Trading clans declared neutrality, sealed their borders. The Valari responded with force. But no one saw Kale. They only saw the consequences. Empire supply chains collapsed. Repair fleets stopped responding. Archive hubs flickered offline. The stars themselves began to feel unfamiliar, because every route that once felt secure now held the fear of sudden death. The Terran strategy was not war. It was memory. Make them remember what fear felt like. Not in a battle. Not in an explosion. In a room. In a whisper. In the moment before sleep, when the lights flickered and the question lingered, are they watching? Kale sat aboard the Black Val, eyes locked on cascading date feeds. Aura, the AI said softly. 30% destabilization achieved across outer Empire zones. Too slow, Kale muttered. Recommending escalation. He nodded. Target? Valari Gate Core. Estimated casualties, 9 billion. He paused. Not because the number meant anything, but because once the core fell, there would be no turning back. No pretending. No illusion of control. He tapped a single key. Do it. 12 Terran constructs, each disguised as debris fields, activated simultaneously. They folded into the gate system and detonated with harmonic resonance bombs that collapsed the local spacetime flow. The explosion couldn't be heard. But every ship that tried to jump afterwards simply didn't. For a full 6 minutes, the Valari lost the ability to traverse faster than light space. The entire galaxy stopped breathing. Kale transmitted one final message that night. No preamble. No rage. Just clarity. This is what you voted for. Begin Stormhammer, Kale said. No fanfare. No rallying cry. Just an order, simple and final. In the cold silence of deep void, the hollow fleet moved as one, emerging across multiple star systems like jagged teeth slicing through the black. They struck without formation, without hesitation, without mercy. Every vessel knew its role. There would be no second wave. The first target was Dalara Prime, a Council-aligned Valari trade hub hosting 1 million civilians and 3 Empire battlecruisers. Kale's ships didn't approach. They folded space. One moment, the Dalara sky was blue. The next, it turned red as orbital mirrors focused captured solar energy into coherent beams and sliced through the station's spinal column. The entire orbital array sheared in half before the first Valari alert was sent. No survivors. No warning. No explanation. 3 more systems followed. Kale's signature was precision, but the message was chaos. Valari news networks spun it as rogue elements. They clung to denial even as entire fleets vanished. The Empire's 7th Armada, posted on the defensive rim of the Vethra corridor, vanished inside its own supply zone. All sensors read clear, until their own ships exploded from within, corrupted by infiltrated maintenance bots seeded months prior. The public began whispering one name, Kale. The Council held an emergency summit. 48 species screamed across the chamber floor, demanding retaliation, demanding unity, demanding someone else take responsibility. The Valari stood and declared humanity a non-entity, a footnote, a problem already solved. One ambassador dared to ask, "Then why are they winning?" They were silenced. In the vacuum of political inaction, Kale escalated. This time, it wasn't stations. It was symbols. The Valari's spiritual homeworld, Jintraker, once thought untouchable, became the next target. Its orbital fortress had never seen combat. Its defense codes hadn't been updated in decades. Kale didn't breach its shields. He bypassed them. He detonated a dark matter spike in the planet's second moon, destabilizing its orbit. The moon fell. Slowly, elegantly. Over 6 hours, billions watched it descend. Every sensor, every broadcast, every signal was hacked to make it visible galaxy-wide. They watched as the moon cracked Jintraker's capital continent in half. Kale sent one message as the light faded. No gods. No masters. Empire loyalists howled for war. Fleet Admiral Vernek demanded an assault on the Terran system. He mobilized 12 dreadnoughts and 4 strike fleets into the Sol corridor. They never made it. Sol never appeared. The system had been cloaked, not hidden, not shielded, cloaked behind spatial mimicry so advanced that jump beacons bounced off reflections. Vernek's fleet looped through 5 phantom systems before crashing into each other trying to correct course. No battle. Just confusion, entropy, and failure. The Council issued a plea. Negotiate. Kale responded by destroying the Vernek Memorial before it was even built. Preemptive punishment for crimes not yet committed. The real shock came 2 days later when Kale targeted the Valari Command Council. Not their fleets. Not their forts. Their families. The Council's bloodlines had been kept in secret safe havens for generations, off-grid planets, genetically locked vaults, cloaked in artificial shadows. Kale didn't hunt them. He made their own AI do it. Hijacked command servers sent forged orders rerouting power. Shield networks collapsed. Security drones opened fire on their own bunkers. In 20 minutes, 12 bloodlines ceased to exist. Kale broadcast their names. I remember every child you burned. No one spoke for hours. Not on the Council floor. Not in the Empire. Not anywhere. A new silence had spread, one different from the cowardice that began the war. This was something older, colder, something even fear couldn't describe. They realized Kale wasn't trying to win. He wasn't trying to rule. He was trying to end something. One final target was marked, Othira Prime, a Valari colony world that had profited most from the Terran expulsion, building its wealth on stolen Terran tech and slave labor contracts passed through blind shell species. It was meant to be a message. It became a lesson. Kale's fleet arrived in layers, first with disruptors that shattered planetary comms. Then with orbital casters that launched mirrored probes into the upper atmosphere. The probes unfolded like flowers, reflecting the image of Earth's final broadcast before the purge, oceans burning, sky ash, Kale kneeling beside a child's body in silence. Above that, a timer appeared. 1 hour. No threat. No demand. Just time. Othira's government sent pleas. They offered reparations. They offered data. They offered Kale the planet. A throne. He responded with coordinates. The exact locations of every Valari official who had voted to expel Earth, along with what each of them had been paid to do so. Then the countdown hit 0. The sky tore open. Kale hadn't brought a bomb. He had brought a gate. And from that gate came Terran memory. Automated ships filled with archived cores, filled with the names of every human lost in the opening strike, every voice that had gone unheard, every life snuffed out without consequence. The cores detonated not with fire, but with sound. The entire planet echoed with Earth's final cries. Othira didn't burn. It wept itself into madness. As the fleet withdrew, Kale said only this: "There are no innocents in silence." By the end of the week, 9 species resigned from the Council. 3 switched allegiance to Earth, without even knowing how to contact it. Kale didn't care. He wasn't interested in alliances. He was building extinction. One lesson at a time. "Send everything," the Valari Supreme Commander ordered, voice sharpened by desperation. "I want Earth's core burned clean." He received no answer. Only static. By the time the Valari command realized the silence wasn't a glitch, the 5th Assault Armada had already disappeared. 30,000 personnel. 6 dreadnoughts. 11 support carriers. Gone. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. Kale had expected this. He didn't wait for confirmation. He didn't need to. The black vow pulsed quietly in the dark between stars, its hull alive with quantum currents, tethered to systems no one else could detect. Aura fed him the incoming signals. Panic. Denial. Internal accusations. Power vacuums. Civilian unrest. Valari command fractured. Aura reported. Chain of authority is decentralized. We are past their breaking point. Kale nodded slowly. Prepare the reveal. After years of warfare without a face, Earth would finally speak. Aura cracked into the Empire's core broadcast network, undetected, unchallenged. Every terminal, every holofeed, every ship's interface shimmered. Kale's image appeared, standing before the emblem of the Terran Assembly. The background was dark, empty, timeless. "You wanted to know who was behind the silence," he said, voice calm, without hate. "I am." Galaxies paused. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. "I am Commander Elias Kale. I represent no planet, no council, no species. I represent the dead." His face never changed. "You erased us because you feared what we might become. You feared our will. Our minds. Our fire. So you struck. You wiped out our colonies. Cracked our gates. Poisoned our skies. And then you buried the story?" He gestured. Behind him, the feed shifted. Archive footage played, Earth's final hours. Not propaganda. Not reenactments. Real footage recovered, decrypted, and sharpened, screaming children in low-gravity shelters, orbital bombardments lighting cities, Council-signed approval orders. "You thought time would protect you," Kale continued. "You thought we'd die quietly." He stepped forward. "We didn't." Every surviving Empire system lit up with a new signal, the Terran relay beacon, seeded secretly during each major strike. Instantly, Earth's network bloomed across the stars like a fungus erupting beneath skin. Kale had never been alone. The Hollow Fleet was just one arm. The real war had been fought inside code, memory, infrastructure. "We turned your silence into our weapon." Entire AI systems began shutting down. Empire fleets stalled mid-flight. Planetary defenses looped. Communications rerouted through ghost relays. The galaxy blinked, and Earth had taken the high ground. Valari Command screamed for countermeasures. There were none. Kale's voice continued. We don't want your systems. Your planets. Your power. We want your understanding. And since diplomacy failed, we teach with pain. He raised a hand. Aura activated the final protocol. Thousands of Terran stealth satellites detonated simultaneously, not as weapons, but as broadcast nodes, projecting one final truth across all networks. It was a list. Names. Every council member, every empire general, every industrialist who profited from Earth's downfall. Their crimes. Their payments. Their confessions. The truth had been collected piece by piece, decrypted in the background while Kale burned their fleets in the foreground. No one could deny it. This wasn't a terrorist campaign. It was a reckoning. Civilian riots erupted in over 40 systems. Long subjugated species rose up. Half the Empire's outer colonies declared neutrality. The Valari homeworld entered martial law. And still, Kale did not stop. We are not gods, he said. We're just human. That's enough. He cut the feed. Valari intelligence finally located what they thought was the origin point of the Terran broadcast, a derelict station orbiting a black dwarf. They sent a kill team. The team never arrived. The signal was a loop. Kale had been speaking from Earth all along. When they finally pierced Sol's cloaking array, they expected rubble. They found civilization. Earth hadn't rebuilt. It had redefined. A continent-spanning fortress of logic-defying geometry hovered above the Pacific. The sky shimmered with atmospheric computation. The moon had been hollowed and re-engineered into a fleet bay. Humanity had not healed, it had evolved. The first drone to enter Earth's orbit returned corrupted. Its data overwritten with one phrase. Welcome back. Kale stood atop Earth's command spire, surrounded by a new kind of Terran. They were post-Earth, post-nation, post-hope. Hardened by extinction. United by memory. Purified by betrayal. Aura's voice whispered. They know we're here. Kale exhaled. They're not ready for what's next. And then, in one coordinated pulse, Terran Command issued the true banishment. Every wormhole connected to Earth's network inverted. Every Empire-linked jump route was severed. Earth's space became a quantum-blind zone, unreachable, untraceable, untouchable. Across the galaxy, Terran beacons pulsed one last time. The Galactic Empire is hereby banned from all Terran space. Violation will be answered with extinction. Then everything went dark. No more broadcasts. No more strikes. No more Kale. Just silence. A silence the galaxy would never mistake again. The Valari High Council met beneath a fractured sky, their capital world still reeling from the aftershocks of rebellion. The stars above no longer shimmered with certainty. Reports came in hourly: collapse, revolt, defection. The great empire had become a wounded leviathan, flailing under the weight of a war it never truly understood. They had removed a species from the council. In doing so, they had awakened something they could not kill: consequence. They believed Kale was gone. They believed the silence meant surrender. Their logic had not evolved. It remained imperial, linear, arrogant, fragile. What they couldn't comprehend, they labeled over. But Earth did not surrender. Earth waited. Then, at the exact moment the Valari's war clocks ticked into the news cycle, every terminal across their homeworld lit up with a single message. We never came to win. We came to finish. Before any protocol could respond, the signal spread. Kale's voice returned, not through encryption or breach, but from the very cores of the Empire's own servers. He wasn't hacking them. He was them. You thought we would burn out. That our silence was retreat. That vengeance could be spent like fuel. You forgot the first truth of humanity: we grow stronger in the dark. Across the Valari's central command station, lights blinked in strange patterns, binary pulses matching old Earth languages. A whisper of the old world, echoing through the Empire's nerves. Kale continued. You killed our diplomats, our scientists, our children. You framed it as balance, justice, peacekeeping. You told yourselves we were dangerous. He paused. Then, you were right. Suddenly, every jump gate within 300 light-years of Valari Prime activated, simultaneously. But nothing came through. No fleets. No bombs. Just pulses. Each gate emitted a repeating signal, old Terran classical music, barely distorted, looping endlessly. The same track, Dies Irae. Day of Wrath. Valari military scrambled. They shut down the gates. Burned relay stations. Severed entire systems. It didn't matter. The signal wasn't coming from the gates. It had already embedded in the very minds of their war networks. Kale's voice returned. You banned us from your council. Now we ban you from our galaxy. The declaration struck deeper than any orbital strike. It was never about war. It was about message, memory, meaning. The Valari had ruled by fear. Now they lived by it. Council members across the galaxy declared neutrality. Former allies of the Valari erased insignias from their ships. Embassies were evacuated. Trade routes with Earth, long blocked, were now ghost paths, marked by beacons that read only, "Do not cross." The Valari tried to fight the idea. They tried to bomb it, debate it, bury it. But Kale had not waged a war of body or fleet. He had waged a war of reality. And he had won. Then came the final act. At the edge of Valari space, a single Terran vessel appeared. No escort. No weapons. A scarred relic of Earth's past, older than Kale, older than the war. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It simply drifted into orbit. Inside was a coffin. Not of a Valari. Not of a soldier. But of a young girl. Her nameplate still read, Lena Kale. Luna Academy. Age 10. The girl who had died during the Empire's first strike. Kale's daughter. Inside the coffin was a note. Written in human script. No code. No encryption. It said, "This is what you made me." The Empire collapsed that day. Not in fire. In realization. Kale had never fought for Earth. Earth was already lost. He fought for the echo. The idea that you do not erase a people and expect silence. That you do not burn homes and expect compliance. That you do not orphan fathers and expect peace. He gave them one final message, broadcast into the remains of the Valari Central Archive. I was never your enemy. I was your mirror. Then he vanished. There were no more attacks. No more messages. No more fleet sightings. The hollow fleet faded into the midst of the void. Some said they returned to Earth. Others believed Kale buried them deep in systems yet unmapped. A few whispered that they became something else entirely, human or weaponized into eternal warning. What remained were ruins and rules. The Council was never rebuilt. The Valari were never trusted again. And across the stars, a line was drawn, cold, unbroken, and absolute. No species may enter Terran space. No ship. No trade. No alliance. No exception. Enter and be erased. They say it's not even Earth that guards it now. It's something deeper. Something older. An intelligence shaped by grief and sharpened by time. Not Kale. Not human. Just silence. But every now and then, across the outer rims of the galaxy, a signal appears. Short. Simple. Inevitable. We're still watching.